Hey, welcome to Meck. My name is Jonathan. I'll be honest, I can barely believe that we're already at the ending of May. I mean, this month, y'all, I was struck by just how many different things happened that caused cultural conversations. Everything from the end of fast fashion, rest in peace, Tamu and Sheen, my wife is gonna miss you a lot, to the inauguration, if that's the right term, of the first American Pope. I mean, I don't think any of us expected an American to be chosen to lead the Roman Catholic Church. And while we're on the topic of old things, Bill Belichick, but not his girlfriend, which is a cultural conversation I never wanted to have as a Tar Heel alumni. But let's be real. The biggest talk of the month has been a debate, and I think a very important national debate that I want to take some time and settle right here, right now. Who would win in a fight? 100 men or one gorilla? Now, if you've been around here, you know we don't often like to take sides in big cultural debates unless they're maybe dealt with in the Bible, but I really feel like this is one that we need to weigh in. So first, let's see what the experts say about this online.
One gorilla, 100 men. Who would win in a fight? The internet has a lot to say.
Gorillas aren't built for long fights. They're like sprinters. They explode for about a minute and then they gas out hard.
Man, I'm taking that gorilla. Man, do people know how big them silverback gorillas are?
Surround it, distract it, get on it, you know what I mean?
How are you going to kill it? I haven't heard one logical response or explanation because obviously no tools are allowed.
If we have 100 men out there who are willing to die, give me the men.
100 men versus a silverback gorilla. I want to see 100 men versus a critical thought.
Okay, challenge accepted. We can think critically about this. First, what about you? Do you think 100 men would win? Or are you on the side of one gorilla? Now, I personally think it's completely obvious. It's the gorilla. Those silverbacks are massive. And mostly I think it's the gorilla because I know that if I was one of the 100 men, I would run away as fast as I could. But today we're starting our series, The Power of One. And we're not talking about the power of one gorilla, although they are massively powerful. We're talking about the power of one life. The power that one life can have and should have. And when we talk power, we're not talking brute strength. We're talking impact, importance. We're talking about your life having meaning, your life marking this world and changing it. I'm a huge history buff. I just love reading history, and I'm always struck by the people who left their mark, who led lives worthy of the history books. People like Abraham Lincoln, Nelson Mandela, Rosa Parks, Winston Churchill, Martin Luther King Jr., Joan of Arc, St. Augustine. The list could go on and on of the people who have shaped our world. Lives of power that just echo through history. I want that. I want to live that kind of a life. I'm currently rewatching the original Lord of the Rings trilogy. I know I'm a huge dork and a fantasy nerd. It's my favorite. I geeked out over Rings of Power and I was like, all right, I need more of this. So I went back to the old movies. And there's a moment where the young hobbit, Frodo Baggins, is doubting whether he, this small, insignificant halfling, can have a life of power, especially when compared to the power of the ring that he carries. And he's told the following: even the smallest person can change the course of the future. I get chills when I hear that, and eye rolls from my wife. But I really do think that I'm not alone in my desire for a life of impact. I think you want that too. So how? How do we get this? How do you achieve a powerful life? Well, I want to take you to a scene from the life of Jesus. One time, two of Jesus' followers, brothers named James and John, were kind of pushed and prodded by their very traditional Jewish mama to come to Jesus and ask him if they could have seats of glory at the right and at the left hand of Jesus. In other words, if they could be given honor and respect and title, and if they could have a life of power given to them. And this wasn't just their pride talking, by the way. It's easy to write that off. No, these men truly wanted to make a difference for Jesus in the world. They wanted their one and only life to mean something. And they felt that a powerful life, given to them by God was the best way to do it. And so they asked for it in the best way that they knew how. And the other 10 disciples who overheard this were furious with them, by the way. It was, and they began this huge argument among all of them about how they all deserve such honor too, and that all of their lives should achieve the same kind of heights and power and significance. And those arguments, by the way, were very common among Jesus' followers because they're normal for all of us. Like if we want to make a difference, don't you feel like we first have to get the power, the influence, the title to be able to do it? Like if we want to make an impact, we have to achieve a role that could make an impact. We almost have to feel like we have to be the one in charge, lording it over the others, making a difference by being in the top dog seat. So basically, what these two followers of Jesus were saying were, hey, Jesus, I want my life to matter. Can I have the dream job, the promotion, the leadership, the authority, the fame, the influence, the power to make my life matter? So what did Jesus say? Well, listen to how one of the disciples, Matthew, recorded the interaction. Jesus called them together and said, you know that the rulers in this world lord it over their people. Officials flaunt their authority over those under them. But among you, it will be different. Whoever wants to be a leader among you must be your servant. Whoever wants to be first among you must become your slave. For even the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve others and to give his life as a ransom for many. So there you have it. Jesus' vision for how to have a life of power. Serve others. You want to be first? You want to have a life of impact? You want to achieve the pinnacle of power in your life? Serve as I have served. What do you think about that? Like, do you buy it? Do you believe that that's what will give your life power? And if not, what will? What will make your life have impact and be worth something? Whenever I talk to people, usually I get one of two answers. The first is that some feel that this is achieved by having kids or through their family. And that's great and noble. But let's be real. Kids are tough. I'm a dad, and it's funny. I read something that Pew Research found in a study that I just laughed at. They found that parents are far less satisfied with their life. Instead of feeling like their lives were impactful, overwhelmingly surveys said that they felt their lives were rushed or even a failure. So honestly, this is not surprising then that most people aren't even seeking parenthood or family anymore. In fact, even half of adult Americans are single. And so many have turned from family and kids to seek impact through their work, their employment, achieving goals, gaining money, fame, popularity, influence, basically with the assumption that achievement equals impact. I'll never forget, though, hearing an interview with Tom Brady. And if you're not familiar with him, he's just the GOAT, the greatest of all time in the NFL football. He won 7 Super Bowls. But it was really interesting. It was after his 3rd Super Bowl win. He sat down in an interview and it just messed with me. He said, why do I have all these rings and still think that there's something greater out there for me? I mean, maybe a lot of people would say, hey man, this is what it is. I've reached the goal, my dream, my life is. But me, I think, God, there's gotta be more than this. I mean, this can't be what it's all cracked up to be. I mean, what else is there for me? What's the answer? And this is what really struck me. He ended with, I wish I knew. I wish I knew. Jesus would say, I know, follow me and serve others. And then your life will find its greatest power, its greatest impact, its greatest fulfillment. But can I make this even more interesting for you? What if I said Jesus has also created the place that he specifically designed to give you an outlet to serve, an opportunity to serve in a powerful way? An organization that he started that is specifically designed to use you and your giftings to serve the world. Let me read it. Jesus was saying, I will put together my church, a church so expansive with energy, not even the gates of hell will be able to keep it out. The church. It's the gathered followers of Jesus on a mission to save and to change the world. As one author wrote, what you have to understand is that we believe, to the core of our being, the local church is the hope of the world. We really believe that. We believe that the church is the only God-anointed agency in society that stewards the transforming message of Jesus and love of Jesus. We believe that the church addresses every human being's deepest need. We believe that the church can lead people into a whole new way of living and loving and serving, and can thereby transform society. The church is the hope of the world. And that idea that church is just so much more than just another organization, just another institution, just another nonprofit, just another business, it's so important. I really want to hone in on this. Our senior pastor wrote about it at a time that this became so clear to him. And here's what he said. He said he realized a company is not the body of Christ instituted by Jesus as the hope of the world. It's not the body of Christ chronicled breathtakingly by Luke through the book of Acts in the Bible. It's not a marketplace venture on the New York Stock Exchange. And a marketplace venture on the New York Stock Exchange is not so expansive with energy that even the gates of hell can withstand its onslaught. An assembly of employees in cubicles working for end-of-year stock options and bonuses is not the gathering of saints, bristling with spiritual gifts, mobilizing to provide justice for the oppressed, service to the widow and the orphan, compassion to the poor. That's what this place is meant to be. A place where we gather together to change the world, where orphans are cared for, widows are comforted, the hungry are fed, broken families are united, that marriages are saved, where addicts find freedom, the hopeless find hope, the depressed find joy, the angry find peace, the fearful find courage, the lonely find family. That's what the church is. That's what Jesus started. That's the amazing thing that he invites you to be a part of. Well, in a letter explaining how the church was meant to operate, the Apostle Paul, who was a leader ordained by Jesus, wrote about it, and I just want to read his words paraphrased in the Message by Eugene Peterson. In light of all this, here's what I want you to do. I want you to get out there and walk, better yet, run on the road that God called you to travel. I don't want any of you sitting around on your hands. I don't want anyone strolling off down some path that goes nowhere. And mark that you do this with humility and discipline, not in fits and starts, but steadily, pouring yourselves out for each other in acts of love. That's the vision. A church so expansive with energy that not even the gates of hell can withstand its onslaught. Not the power of your one life working through that powerful church. And I think you'll find that when you pour your life out like that, you gain so much more than you give. One of my best friends is a guy, he works in insurance, and he's actually pretty high up in the field. He's been able to travel all around the world, rose up the ladder, all the things that you would seek in a career. We were working together on writing one of Meck's family nights. It's an event that we do. Actually, you heard about it earlier. And he said that what he does in Meck and in Meck Kids, our children's program, is the single most important and impactful and best part of his life outside of his family. Another man I was talking to who serves with the fourth graders in Meck Kids said that this is me time. Like, I love what I do here. I get to work with other believers. I get to make a difference. It's the best part of my week. I was talking with one woman who serves in the Grounds coffee shop and in the bookstore here at Meck on the weekdays. And she told me just how much she loves making coffee and talking with people, connecting with people who come in that she realizes are just lonely and just wanting community. There's another man who greets people at the door for our in-person services, and he told me just how much fun it is, imagining all the people who come, who his smile could be the difference between them coming back, that he gets to set the tone for how friendly Meck is for them and the entire church is. If you want to have a life of impact, of meaning, of power, Jesus would say, start by serving in your church. So why aren't we? What's holding us back? Well, here are the reasons I get all the time for why people don't serve. First, I'm not a Christian. This one seems obvious, right? Like, okay, if the reason we serve is because of Jesus, and if the place we serve was started by Jesus, well, if we're not a follower of Jesus, then why would we serve? I can't really argue with that. That's solid logic. But I do want to surprise you, if I can. I want to invite you to serve anyways. Do you know that? You can serve here even if you do not believe. Now, not every role is going to be open to you. Obviously, it would be weird if you were, standing on a stage singing about leading other people to sing about loving Jesus. If you don't love Jesus, no, that would be weird. But we have so many roles, tons of roles that you could take part in, teams that you could join. In fact, I would actually encourage you to try it. See what it's like to belong here even before you believe. I mean, what a great way to really get to know this community, get to know what we're about, and find that you do good things along the way. The second reason, I'm not qualified. So many of you are new to the faith and new to Jesus, and every time we read something from the Bible, you're like Nate Bargatze watching a history movie. It's all brand new to you. I don't know, by the way, if you've heard that bit, it cracks me up. He talks about how he doesn't read, and so he was watching the movie Pearl Harbor, and he said, I was just as surprised as they were. So what if you don't know this Jesus stuff good yet? What if you even find yourself saying statements like, I don't know Jesus stuff good yet? Well, we promise you that you will be trained. You will be equipped. For example, in Max Life or Real Life, our middle and high school programs, you get a guide for everything that you lead the kids in every single time you serve. And we tell everyone, hey, if a student asks you something that you have no idea how to answer, just tell them, man, that's a great question and I don't know the answer. Every role, whether you're with an adult, student, or younger kids, it's going to be the same. You will be equipped and trained. You don't need to know anything on the front end. Well, next, I don't have time. First, though, I do want to explain just kind of what the time would entail. Most of our serving roles are for our in-person services, and they last roughly an hour and a half. People average serving about 2 to 3 services a month. Our weekday Missions 2.0 serve roles and weekday student ministry roles are about 2 hours each time. Online roles vary in length, but they're roughly about 1 to 1.5 hours, just like everything else. That's kind of the baseline commitment. But I get it. I mean, I'm sure you're thinking, look, I'm busy. We're all busy. But if you're a follower of Jesus, and I want to challenge you on this, can you truly look at your life and all the ways that you spend time and say that those things that are taking away from serving in your church are more important? When we're really, truly honest with ourselves, we know we could make the time. But maybe you do agree with that theoretically you could make the time, but because of work or family or sports, you aren't actually sure how consistently you could even commit. Do you know that you get to decide when you serve? You do. You tell us the services or the dates or the times whenever that you're free. Actually, one of my good friends is a basketball ref on the side. And so every winter season, he actually stops serving and then he comes back in the spring ready to go again. Another of my friends who serves here, he travels all the time for work. And so his serving is super sporadic. He's only scheduled maybe 1 time a month, if that, depending on when he knows he'll be in town. But what he does is he picks up other openings based on when he's in town and happens to be available. And he ends up serving about 2 times a month. If you can't be consistent on the front end or you have a weird schedule, I guarantee you we still have a place for you. But here's what we usually mean when we say, I don't have the time. It's, I don't have the energy. Now, on this one, I will say that if you have a child with a disability or neurodivergency or a serious health issue, this really probably does apply to you. I have a huge heart for you. This whole place does, in fact. You have one of the hardest parenting jobs imaginable. And while you love your child, you'll be the first to admit this is not easy. And that's why we have an entire ministry for you. We call it inclusion. So let us serve you here. I spoke with one parent who just, it was actually, she just started sobbing. And she said that the hour that we give her during our in-person services for her and her husband, it's the only hour they get to themselves every single week to just rest, to recharge. You see, they can't use a babysitter because of their daughter's disability. And so to get an hour with other adults without having to care for their child or worry about her care, she said it has changed our life. So if, on that note, if you do serve with inclusion, I just want to say big shout out to you. I mean, you made that happen. But for others of us, our life feels crazy too. And I so get that. And you might even see this place, MEC, as your mental health oasis, your time to recharge where you get served. And so the idea of serving others during that, that defeats the whole purpose of even being here, right? And to that I say, try it. I'm shocked by how many people find the exact opposite to be true. That they get recharged and refreshed by serving others in this place. And here's why. First, science. Studies show that serving others actually causes your body to release serotonin, which helps you relax. It releases endorphins, reducing pain and giving you energy, and oxytocin, which reduces blood pressure and makes you feel more loving and loved. But even pushing science aside, most find that their serving team is a place of love and belonging. A group that you're serving with, that you can celebrate with, that you can find connection with, and friendship and purpose. This month, I actually attended a big potluck cookout at Frank Lisk Park. It's a park near our campus for the Met Kids Elementary team. Other teams have gathered in homes or met together on Zoom. One team even just did a cookout in our physical campus parking lot. Being part of a group like that is energizing. So try it. And I also want to tell you that if you start getting burned out, we promise to work with you to find something that does energize you. I actually had that. I had a volunteer who was just exhausted by serving. They were on a team that I oversaw working from a computer. And so I suggested, hey, let's explore something different. I think you might need to work with people. So they tried out serving in the grounds. And it was funny, they have never looked back. They love it. But you see, you might hear that and think, yeah, but I don't trust you. You've been burned by other places. We know the horror stories. You give an email, you give a phone number, and you just get guilt-laden emails and calls and texts begging you for more, and more. Maybe you even fled a church where your Sunday started at 8 a.m. and ended at 6 p.m. and you felt trapped, like you couldn't leave because you were doing God's work and the guilt and the shame was so strong. I can't speak for other places, but I can for us. We started something several years back, and it goes for all ministries and all serving roles. Try us. Serve 3 times. And if it's a bad experience, you can stop serving. No questions asked. Or if maybe just that one role was a bad experience because if it fit wasn't right, you can find a different role in a different ministry here. And if anyone guilts you for that at all, let me know. Or let someone know around here, because that is not the way that the church should be. At our best, we care more about you than the role that you serve in. Which brings me to, I'll serve when I figured out my role. In other words, you want to kind of start by, okay, well, let me just figure out my exact role that's perfectly designed for me before you'll even think about starting to serve. And if I can be blunt, it does not work. It's not going to happen. Until you start serving, you're going to have no idea what role is best for you. The best way to find your fit is to just start trying it. The question that I always ask to start is, do you want to work with kids, like elementary, preschool, or babies, that age, students, so like middle or high schoolers, or adults? Most of you should intuitively be able to answer that question. And when you've started, okay, well then begin to explore what your fit is. Experiment with it. One guy that I love, he's a bioengineer, super smart, like genius level, brilliant. He started serving here at Mech he decided to serve with kids that were the same age as his kids. But then after serving for a while, he discovered that his passion was the 4 and 5-year-olds. If you had told him that 6 years ago, he would have laughed in your face. But after trying it, he found his fit. Well, next, you don't need me. I've been in ministry for more than 10 years, and I've been at Mech since the day we opened 32 years ago. And in all that time, God has always provided the people that we need. And so from the outside, it probably has never looked like we really need help. But remember what I said, God has provided. And he's done that with people like you. The truth is there's a huge need. I can't even begin to describe the need that you specifically could meet. Yes, you. Across any and every ministry, from Met Kids to the band that you see playing on the weekend, you are needed. For example, I mentioned our program Inclusion. It's a ministry to serve kids with disabilities, health conditions, and neurodiversities. It's part of our Met Kids in-person program. They need roughly 1 volunteer per kid we serve. I mean, that alone is a huge need, and it's constantly growing. Every ministry at Mech, though, has a similar story. But what if you aren't at Mech, at least physically? Like, what if you live somewhere else? I mean, you're joining us from really far away. Well, I'm not going to beat around the bush. Our biggest needs are for our in-person weekend services, our in-person serving on weekdays, and in-person serve days with our missions partners throughout the week. Side note, one of my favorite people, I just love her to death. She lives a little over an hour away from our campus. She serves about once a month or so. But whenever she comes in to serve, she actually sets up lunch with friends from our serving team every time, makes a full day out of it, and then she joins us online other times. But just so that you know, we also have several ways for you to serve and be involved, even remotely. We even have a volunteer who lives in Japan. Shout out to you. Thank you, by the way. Well, next, I'm too old or young. Okay, first, let me begin by saying we love our middle and high school volunteers, seriously. So nobody's too young to serve. But let me address the old one, because I get this one a lot. Let's be real, 90 is the new 60, am I right? I just want to speak for Met Kids. We have a group that we just lovingly know as the Rocking Grannies. They're women who come in during our in-person services and they just hold babies. Just for the service, sit the whole time with those cute little kiddos. We've got older men who sit with young kids and just read them books while they're sitting on the couch. We've got people who sit at our front desk greeting people as they come in during the week to meet with the pastor or ask a question or drop off something for one of our missions partners. One older woman, she actually serves from her home, and she has written to date over 3,000 cards to kids in Met Kids. Another dear servant has galvanized an entire group of her friends to join together and help prep supplies during the week for our in-person services. Let me just be clear, you are never too old to make a difference. But that's the underlying thought, right? I won't make a difference. After all, I paint this beautiful picture of a place that changes lives, but could holding a door open, welcoming somebody in an online chat room, parking a car, holding a baby, sharing social media posts, making coffee, playing air hockey with a student, can any of it actually make a difference? It did for me. I mentioned that I grew up here. One of my earliest memories is of a woman named Miss Jenny. She was Met Kids volunteer when I was in 4. I actually see her periodically still. She's wicked good at bananagrams. I just remember loving her hugs. My little 4-year-old kid, me as a 4-year-old, I loved it. A few years later, I had Miss Tanya. And I remember distinctly a time that she actually prayed for me. I'll never forget it. It was one of the first times another adult outside of my family prayed for me. I'd gotten injured on my bike and I had to get surgery and I was terrified, and she was there for me. Later on, Mr. John, I pestered that poor man. Oh, I feel so bad for him. I gave him question after question after question, and he would answer some, and then I felt like he said to me every single week, man, Jonathan, that is such a great question. I don't know the answer, but I'll write it down and find someone who does. He has no idea, but he helped me through a period of significant doubt in my life. And there's Mr. Dean. He's dear to my heart. We actually talked on the phone earlier this week, and he was so pivotal in my middle school and high school years as learning what it was to become a man, and so much so that I actually invited him to be at my graduation. He was part of my wedding. He's a dear friend and a mentor today. The list of names that I could give you who have impacted me through this place is so long. I mean, Miss Barb, Miss Cindy, Mr. Russell, Mr. Jonathan, Miss Carolyn. I could keep going for days. So many people who've served here over the years, who shaped me into who I am today. Another story. There was a girl who grew up far from God, definitely not anywhere close to being a Christian. I mean, she cursed like a sailor. She would be the first to admit she was in rough shape coming here. But in high school, she was invited to come and to come to Mech. And what stuck out about the first time she came to her was not the message or the music. It was the parking team and the front door greeter. She said, looking back, that their smiles were just so genuine. She was shocked. She said this place felt like people were happy to be here and happy that I was here. There was no judgment. They seemed to like me. I mean, she expected something like that maybe from like a pastor. I mean, they get paid to be here. But from the people standing outside in the rain, the people holding the door, no, this place was something different. And so she decided to come back and kept coming. Even chose to go to college at UNCC, which is near our campus here, partly so that she could keep coming to this place. 2 years later, she got baptized. I met her a few weeks after that. She was at the time serving on the 3rd grade and the inclusion team in Met Kids. We just celebrated our 10-year anniversary. Here's a picture of our wedding day. I want to show this picture because those are 2 of our flower girls, and the little girl that's standing in front was my wife's one-on-one buddy with the inclusion program here. Don't ever say that what you do here doesn't matter or that it doesn't make a difference. It has made all the difference in the world to me. So thank you. So let's say you're ready, but maybe you still have one more hang up. I don't even know how to get started. Okay, we've made it easy. Hit the Serve tab on this page. If you need help finding it or anything with it, just ask the volunteer serving in the chat room, and you'll be taken directly to a form saying that you're interested in serving. And remember, all you need to know is you want to serve with kids, like elementary, preschool, babies, somewhere in there, students, middle or high school, or adults. And then give us a way to contact you. It's all on the form. And you're on your way to joining the incredible power of what your life could do in this place. Let's pray. God, thank you for creating a place where we can serve and experience the power of a life that serves. I pray that every one of us would take up the call, join in with your work, and serve. Amen.